Hey everybody, it's Angie. Welcome to day 2 of taking care of yourself during IVF or your infertility journey. So if you joined the group late yesterday and you're just kind of catching up, welcome. My name is Angie Green and I have been trying to conceive for almost 2 years. My husband has very low sperm morphology, and so we thought IVF would be a piece of cake. I've had one healthy pregnancy in the past. Long story short, we have gone through IVF twice, and we've not had success both times. And so at this point in our journey, we don't have any embryos left. So we're taking a little time to take a step back and, make the decision if and when we're ready to start again. And until that time, I am just trying to get my head in the right place. I'm trying to wrap my head around, everything that's happened and process it and just continue to try and be the best person that I can be, because sometimes this journey makes us ugly, it makes us feel not physically ugly, but I didn't like the way that I was feeling. I didn't like the way I was responding. I was very snappy. My patience was low. I was unhappy. I was angry, and all of those feelings are normal when we are going through the struggle. But I didn't like the way that it made me feel. I didn't like the person it was making me become. So I decided to take action. And by doing that, I started going to therapy. I started investing a lot of time into myself, into my physical fitness, focusing on my health and fitness, as well as focusing on learning more about myself and how to improve the areas I was struggling with. So I dove into personal development, reading lots of books and listening to lots of audio, just to help kind of retrain my brain to get back to the person that I was before we started this struggle. And through that whole process, I just kind of felt a calling to help other women who are going through the same struggle, which has led me to doing this 5-day group. I've never done a group like this before. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into when I started. I didn't know if I was going to be able to help anybody or make an impact, but I do know that I've connected with so many amazing, brave, strong women who have supported me through this process. Many of you might be here and we've never even met, but I just kind of wanted to pay it forward to other people who are struggling too. And so that's why I decided to form this group. My expertise, my background is in health and fitness. I work in the fitness industry. My husband and I run a fitness-based business out of our home, and we help other people get fit out of their home. So that's like my area of expertise, and that's something that I love doing. But I feel like that I have so much more to offer in terms of going through this struggle, because I have a ways to go, but I have made some progress in healing and figuring out next steps and, just trying to move forward. That's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to get to the end goal, the end result, which is have a healthy, happy baby. So, if I can help you any way privately, send me a friend request, or I'm going to start sending friend requests to you guys, because that way we can connect one-on-one too, and you guys can message me questions or topics that you want me to talk about. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I'm just sharing what I have learned through my struggle and as I continue to struggle and go through this journey. One thing that has come up, a lot of people have asked, I talked a little bit about my husband yesterday, and he's kind of like the driver behind me when I'm having those days where I'm like, I just want to crawl into a hole, He's the one that kind of pulls me out and keeps me positive. He is by far way more positive about this entire situation than I am. So a couple of people of you have reached out and you've asked, do you have any tips on like getting your partner more emotionally involved or more supportive? And I don't know, I tossed the idea around with him. I said, maybe you'd want to just like talk for 5 minutes and I can throw a video in here to give you his perspective. He's a little more camera shy than I am, so we'll see. But if that's something you are interested in, and let me know. Oh, Anaheim, Disney, yes, I love it. I'm actually going to be in Anaheim. The fitness company that I work with is based out of there, so I'm going to be there April 20th. I wonder how far you are. We should connect. Okay, so I said I would always keep these videos short because I know your time is valuable. Today's day 2. So yesterday we talked about mindset, which is super important in going through the process. Today we're talking about gratitude, which I know is like, might seem like a ridiculous topic. Like what, when we had our second transfer fail, I was like, what could I possibly be grateful for right now? We just went over the $30,000 mark of our own money. We had 2 perfectly tested embryos that came back as perfect and neither took. I had gained 10 pounds. I was not happy. What could I possibly be grateful for? And, I would go to therapy to process it, or I talked to my husband. And I think at the time I was just mad. And when you are feeling so sad or mad, sometimes you're not ready to hear that message. So yesterday when we talked about mindset, maybe you are still in the place where you're not ready to hear about how to change your mindset. Maybe you're not ready to hear gratitude. When I first heard that word right after our second failure, I was mad. It made me mad because I kept thinking, what do I possibly have to be grateful for? I wasn't ready to hear the message. And, now I'm getting there. And so I hope that something that I talk about resonates with you, or, maybe spark something in you to say, yeah, I'm ready to try and move forward in this process in terms of the way that I'm feeling. And I want to pull myself out of that rut mentally, physically, emotionally. And I hope that it helps you. So I'm going to just give you 3 quick tips today on how you can really focus on gratitude during this process. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thumbs up. I like that. I took notes so I wouldn't forget, because sometimes when I do these live videos, I get a little off topic. Okay. So the first one is, the first tip in trying to work towards feeling gratitude, even though we're going through this awful struggle, is to bottle up the good stuff. And what I mean by that is really focus on what is good in your life. When I spoke yesterday in the video, I told you that when my husband was trying to get me to focus on positivity after the second failure, we were at dinner. Of course, I was crying, and we were talking about if and when we're going to move forward. And my mindset was so negative. I kept saying, why on earth would we try this again if the first 2 failed and we have no idea why? And I started saying, what if it doesn't work? What if we can't even get any eggs? What if this? What if that? Negative. And he said, stop right there. I want you to make a list of everything positive that has come out of this experience. So I talked about that yesterday. And so maybe you need to do that to help remind you of what you have to be grateful for. Make a list. Pull out a piece of paper and a pen right now and write down a list of everything in your life that you have to be grateful for. And I'm not going to tell you that someone has it worse than you, because I used to think that, when I was meeting these other women and I was hearing these other stories, even some of you in this group who just have like heart-wrenching stories, which chokes me up a little bit. I would think to myself, why am I even complaining? Some of these women have become my friends who have had miscarriage after miscarriage, or was far along into their pregnancy and lost the baby. I mean, just tragic stories. The same day that my first transfer failed, my best friend who lives in Texas called me and told me that her sister had died in a very, very tragic car accident. And the car got stuck, and gas went into the car blew up, and she couldn't get out. Horrible story. And so, of course, I thought, oh my gosh, how can I be upset that this failed when things could be so much worse? But I'm not going to tell you that, because no matter where you're at in this journey with your story, the situation sucks. I mean, unless you're past this and you've, had success, and I wish that for all of us. But when we struggle with infertility, it sucks. No matter where we're at in the process, no matter where we are comparing our journey to someone else's, our journey still sucks. So all we can do is focus on what we can be grateful for. So like I said, get out a piece of paper and a pen and make a list. And if you truly sit there and your paper is blank and you're like, I cannot think of one thing, then you need to go to the person that you're closest to and let them help you make that list, because sometimes it takes someone else to remind us about all the things that we have to be grateful for. And for me personally, obviously, you know, I have a son from a previous relationship. He's 14. That's number one. I am so grateful that I have him. I'm so grateful for my husband who helped me find love again after struggling going through a divorce. You know, my family, and I want you to get specific outside of just your family, your friends, your job. Think about how much we really, really have to be grateful for. You have, you know, I have 2 arms and 2 legs and a beating heart and the breath in my lungs. I have a roof over my head. And when you just make that list of everything that you have to be grateful for, it doesn't lessen the pain that we're going through during the struggle, but it does give us something to focus on. And so, as cheesy as it might sound, you know, get a piece of paper out and just write down a list and just remind yourself of what you have to be grateful for. Okay, the second one, and this is really, really important. In order to focus on gratitude, you need to invest in personal development by filling your mind with positivity. Because when we read books about positivity, when we listen to audio about positivity, we're basically retraining the brain and we're learning how to change the tape. So the next time a negative thought comes into our head, maybe we let it pass, or maybe we immediately substitute it with something positive. So for me, investing in personal development and reading about positivity and listening about positivity has helped me stop myself when I start to have those negative thoughts come in, those negative what ifs, what if everything goes wrong, what if it doesn't work. I can immediately stop myself and say, oh, hang on, Angie, but what if it does work? You know, what if everything goes right? What if you get what you want? What if you go through this next process and it's easier than it was the first time? So now I'm able to kind of check myself and, you know, just retrained my brain. And I think the more that you listen about positivity and the more that you read about positivity, the more it will help you realize that life is good and you guys will be okay no matter what happens. We'll be okay. And so reading and listening to positivity has really helped me understand that. And so it has made the process moving forward a little less scary for me. Especially the unknown. So let me give you a couple of tips. So yesterday I talked about the book The Secret, which is a really, really good book, and it's also a movie. Today I want to share with you, and I will put this in the comments section below, my very favorite author who focuses on positivity. His name is John Gordon. And there are 2 books that I have read by him that I love. This first book is called The Energy Bus. If you want to, you can take a screenshot. But again, I'll post it in the comments. I won't forget today, I promise. This is called The Energy Bus by John Gordon. And this book talks about, you know, all the challenges and the adversity that we face today. I'll hold this up so you can see it. You know, in our life, this just kind of gives us a roadmap to help navigate that negativity and the pitfalls that we experience in life, and how we can navigate it into trying to remain as positive as possible while going through a struggle. And this book focuses on oftentimes other people who you're surrounding yourself with. So who do you have on your bus? You know, who are the people closest to you? Who are the biggest supporters in your life? Who are your go-to people? Are they positive people or are they negative people? So when I started reading personal development and I started learning more about positivity, and mainly the reason why I started reading about personal development is because I set out to build a home-based business while I was working full-time, and I was a single mom, and I was just tired of that life. I wanted my freedom of time, and so I knew it was going to be hard, and I knew I was going to make a lot of changes, and I knew I had to believe in myself to do it. So this is one of the first books that I read that talked about how to find the right people and how to remove the negative people from your life. And what I found was, between you and I, some of those people that weren't so positive were my family members. And so sometimes if we have someone who's really negative in our life, they're a negative influence, they're constantly negative, it's hard to get away from those people. I definitely had to tighten up my circle of friendships, and I had to remove myself from some negative situations or negative circles in my life, but some I could not, because some negative people in your life might be your parents, your sibling, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your best friend that you've known for 20 years. So you can't always completely remove yourself from negativity, but I will tell you, you can surround yourself with more positive people in your life. They are out there. A lot of you were meeting for the first time, and I see it here. I mean, you guys already have each other's back in the group, and you're so supportive, and I love the community that you're building here. So there are positive people out there. You just have to find them. So if you feel like you're completely surrounded by negativity in this book in your life, read this book. This is a really good book. And maybe it's something that you and your partner could read it together too, if you feel like you need more positivity from your partner or more support, or anybody who's close to you while going through this process. So this is a really good book. It's called The Energy Bus by Jon Gordon. This is another good book. It's called The No Complaining Rule. It's also by Jon Gordon. And this one talks about how to turn your complaints into solutions. So this goes back to the whole thing that we talked about yesterday, meaning we don't always have control of what happens, but we have control of how we respond. And this one was an eye-opener for me. So, this book focuses more on dealing with other people. This one focuses on dealing with yourself. Because after I read this book, I was like, wow, I do complain an awful lot. And the more that I focused on, trying to be positive, trying to act positive, giving myself positive triggers when negative thoughts pop into my head, I truly realized that I don't want to complain anymore. I don't need to complain. I have so much to be grateful for. So I hope those books help. Also, I will post in the group. Let me see if I find it. I put it up here. Oh, I have a whole list of positive podcasts. So different podcasts that you can listen to on positivity. So for me personally, when I'm driving throughout the day, running errands, going to meetings, picking up my son, I don't listen to the radio anymore. I listen to podcasts. And my son Brennan, well, too bad. He's in the driver's seat, so I control the radio. And it's good for him to listen to as well. Michael Hyatt, he's a really, really good author, and he has a great podcast. Another good one is TED Radio, or Talk TED, if you've ever heard that. There is a podcast called Magic Lessons. Elizabeth Gilbert, the woman who wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love. Maybe you saw the movie or read the book. I just read one of her books called Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. So I don't walk my life through life with fear anymore. I try not to. She has a great podcast. Again, I'll post this in the comment section. I think that hopefully will help you. But I really strongly encourage you to invest time in reading or listening to positivity, because it does remind you of what we do have to be grateful for still, even though we're going through a struggle right now. And then the last tip that I have to give you on how to really focus on gratitude is do a feel-good activity every single day. So do an activity that makes you feel good, about yourself or as a person, or, it helps you relax. Because when you do that, let's face it, this process is consuming. It consumes our life, it consumes our time, it consumes our appointments, it consumes our alarm clock on our phone going off to take this pill or do this injection. It's a lot. So when you take time to do an activity that feels good to you, it will help remind you that, again, you do have something to be grateful for, because you're able to do an activity that makes you feel good. So for me, obviously, it's fitness. I love fitness. I love working out. It makes me feel good. It reminds me that, I'm healthy and that I'm strong, and I'm going to continue to be as much as I can because I am working out. I like to eat, let's face it, but I also like to work on finding new creative, healthy meals for the family. That makes me feel good. Meal prep makes me feel good. You know, Sundays are typically my meal prep day. That makes me feel good because I know that I'm getting organized and prepared for the week. So what's a feel good activity for you? Is it going outside and going for a walk and just breathing in the air? You know, I live in Ohio, so it's freezing right now. We just got about 4 inches of snow. But that even going outside and having that crisp, cool air, just breathe into my lungs as I take a casual stroll around the cul-de-sac. I love doing that. Maybe it's reading for you. Maybe clipping coupons, knitting, something that is very therapeutic for me. This sounds crazy, but I love washing dishes. There's something very therapeutic about the cleansing of the plates and, you know, sudsing up the plate and then letting the hot water run the soap off of the plate. That, I don't know, just makes me feel good, clean. So whatever works for you, find something. If you need suggestions, we can brainstorm ideas. Actually, you know what? I would love for you guys to comment below after you watch this video on what is your feel-good activity? And let's challenge each other to do a feel-good activity sometime within the next 24 hours. So sometime before I do a video tomorrow would be a great time for you to get your feel-good activity in. It doesn't have to require money. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It just has to be something that makes you feel good, because that will help you with gratitude as well. So quick recap on day 2. 3 ways to help you feel gratitude and to focus on gratitude during this hard time. Number 1, bottle up the good stuff. Number 2, fill your mind with positivity by reading and listening to audio. And number 3, do feel good activities every single day. So I hope that helps you guys. Tomorrow is day 4. Tomorrow's day 3. And on day 3, we are going to be focusing on resiliency. So how to be resilient after a setback in this struggle. So continue to comment below if you have any questions, shoot me a message, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for being on.